Hey, let's do this episode.
Yeah, welcome to SU Pod Especially Heinous. I'm Gabe.
I'm Tasha.
Today we are on Season 7, Episode 9, Rockabye.
That dumb
Rockabye.
song. Ugh. The whole time, every time I was like, what's this episode called? Oh, God. It's like earworm fucking song.
That's the only part I remember of it right now.
Me too.
Though.
Rockabye. Yeah.
Okay, so we're still in 2005.
We'll be here forever, for eternity.
Yep. The opening scene, so the camera
2005 is the Groundhogs Day, and we're all Bill Murray.
I'm the truck. I'm the toaster.
I'm the hole that he keeps tripping in. I'm the toaster.
Opening scene.
We're the radio DJs that he hears in the morning.
Yeah, I'm the cliff that he drives off. All right. All right, opening scene.
I'm the groundhog. Okay, go.
I know. I mean, I was going to say that too, but it's like...
Oh, I'm sorry. Was it obvious?
It's too obvious. I'm the vermin. Opening scene. The camera is panning outside of like a really crappy hotel, and it's showing different people in different rooms. Mm-hmm. No matter what everybody's doing in each room, you can hear a woman screaming, like muffled screaming, and nobody's even acknowledging it.
Right.
Nobody does anything because it's New York City. Ugh. Pan to one room, and it looks like a sex worker and her client are about to get it on. But we hear the screams louder, and then we hear something break. She's like, fuck this. And she leaves the room and bangs on the door next to her room.
The client's like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to go check on a person who's obviously being hurt.
Am I crazy? Because I hear this and nobody else. Yeah. As she knocks on the door, she's like, hey, a dude runs out and almost knocks her over. She goes into the room and finds a woman who was attacked. She's on the floor begging for help. The sex worker woman calls for an ambulance. Her fucking client comes to the doorway and he's like, oh, I want my $50 back. She's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
A little bit later, responders and Toots and Benny are on the scene. Toots tells Benny that the victim was beaten and robbed, and Stabler went to the hospital to check on her. The woman who found the victim, the sex worker, she's in fucking handcuffs because she's a fucking like, oh my God. She tells Benson what happened and how the perp left with the victim's purse. She says that she only caught a glimpse of the guy, but he was white. She fucking calls the police and saves some girl's life and gets arrested. And I like how she's getting arrested. She's like, I don't care. I'm telling you everything I know about this fucking guy. Get him. You know?
And that's
a girl's girl.
If we are, yes. If we're going to like follow the thread of these guys, not exactly like, maybe tiptoeing on the edges of the law. This is one of those situations where Benny could be like, oh my God, this key slipped into the fucking hole of those cuffs and oops.
Or like, I'm sorry, did you see her performing sex acts on somebody for money?
Right. Exactly.
Because you didn't.
The reason they know is because they showed up and that guy was like, she owes me $50 or a blowjob. I don't care which one.
Right. And they're like, all right, get out of here, sir. You probably have a wife and kids. Ma'am, get over here. You're like, what? Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
I'm like, yeah, that's the culture we live in. Yeah.
And we never hear about this lady again, which bummed me out.
Right.
Inside the room, which is the crime scene now, Benny sees a bloodied lamp. The shade and the bulb were taken off.
Which is weird, like thoughtfully taken off before it's used as a weapon. Doesn't make any sense in like a passionate, violent situation.
Like, you better stand still. I got to take this off real quick. Like, what? That doesn't make sense.
Hang on a second. Screw.
Yeah. Is this one of the ones where it goes around the bulb or you have to like unscrew the bulb to get the thing off? I don't know.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah. Toots hasn't gotten the victim's ID yet, but the hotel manager says that her name is, quote, Jane Smith. So Benny asks him if he even checks the victim's IDs, and he's like, why should I? She paid cash. And then dude says she checked in like 2 weeks ago. Toots asked him if she had any visitors, and this dude fucking laughs and says it's not any of his business what his tenants do. Toots gets fucking pissed, and he tells him he's fucking running a, quote, whorehouse, and threatens to haul his ass in. Dude chills and completely changes his accent for some reason, and says that all he knows is she made a bunch of phone calls from the lobby payphone.
Also, you guys realize you didn't just walk into a fucking Best Western in Wausau. Like,
that's probably a whorehouse in Wausau. I mean, come on. Let's be real.
You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't, there's not like a continental breakfast and shit. Right. You guys know exactly what kind of establishment this is.
Benny gets a call from Stabler The victim was captured on security cameras leaving the hospital wearing clothes she stole from the other patient in her room. They are somehow able to get a super enhanced clear image of her face. Did you fucking see that?
I love the zoom in and
you can't do that anywhere else.
When it's like boop, 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 and then you see the face.
Literally the screen had zeros and ones on it like the Matrix, and they were able to somehow
zoom in and get like, does she have a little booger? I think she might have a little booger there. Like,
she should get that thing on her face checked out. I think that's melanoma. Like, come on.
Yeah. Anyway, we all know this. This is the most cliche thing that we could notice.
All right, theme song. Bing bong.
Bing bong. Down.
At the precinct, Stabler and Cragen do a little walk and talk, and Stabler updates Cragen on the missing victim. She told the ER staff that her name was Jane Smith. So she had a lot of signs of trauma to her legs, and she had vaginal bleeding. She took off before they could do a rape kit, but blood had been drawn for tests. It seems Jane had left on her own. Nobody was there with her. Cragen thinks that maybe she's a sex worker and that her, quote, John had used the opportunity to rob her. Stabler thinks her pimp maybe had roughed her up. Munch comes over with a bagged piece of evidence. CSU found a 2-week-old one-way bus ticket from Pulaski, Virginia. It was in the trash can of her hotel room. Stabler thinks Jane is a runaway who came to the city, ran out of money, and maybe turned to sex work. Munch sent a picture of the victim to the Pulaski law enforcement. He's ahead of everything, of course. He's always like, oh, I did this. It's a super small town, and the sheriff recognized her, and her name is actually Lauren Wesley. She's 16. Her dad had filed a missing persons report 2 days before she was attacked. And Cragen's like, well, why would Lauren's dad wait 2 weeks to file the report? Munch tells them that he called Dad and left a message, but hasn't heard back from Dad yet. He just moved this episode along like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Benson comes in. She dumped the call log from the payphone in the hotel lobby. Someone made 8 calls to the Manhattan Women's Sexual Health Clinic, which was a red flag for me because I'm like, I need to hear Planned Parenthood, or I think this is like one of those Christian fucking things immediately.
Boo, 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 boo. That's the sound of you winning. Because, yeah, same. Women's Sexual Health Clinic, Women's Pregnancy Crisis Center. Like, so I have so much. I forgot how angry we were going to be, but
I know.
Fucking surprise you guys.
Yeah.
I'm always like, we're going to be mad today. Okay.
Stabler doesn't think that really narrows it down much since a lot of the sex workers working out of the hotel are women.
And also, this is all very nice. And I love all the work that they're doing, but IRL, none of this would be happening. They would be like, this woman left the hospital, didn't file a report. She was fucking beaten in this room. The end. Next.
Yeah. What did that other guy call the sex worker? Not important, not NIPs or something? Like, what was it in one of those episodes? Basically, like, just not a human.
I don't remember the thing he used, but it's very much like they're not going to chase after
They wouldn't go looking for a sex worker that got beat up that left on her own. They wouldn't.
Not by any stretch of the imagination would they. They'd be like, oh my God, okay, well.
Maybe Benson would be like, I wonder if Sister Peg knows her. But they just wouldn't even. They wouldn't.
No. There would be another thing coming across their desk that was just as bad or worse. In 5 minutes. They'd be like, okay, cool. Well, this thing isn't going to take us anywhere. But no, not the fucking Law and Order Dick Wolf SVU Olivia Benson squad. Not them.
Yes. Cragen thinks it's the best lead they got, so he wants them to check it out first thing in the morning, which is the women's sexual blah, blah, blah. Puke, puke, puke. I hate it, puke.
At the Manhattan Women's Sexual Health Clinic, Stabler shows Lauren's photo to the clinic doctor. He's been in a ton of stuff, but is... importantly, and I think it'll make a lot of sense as soon as I say it, he's the voice of Ratchet, the Autobot, in all of the Transformers movies. He's just got a very, like, one of these voices. Autobots, fucking bar, whatever. He recognizes her as Jane Smith. He won't share any information on her visit because of doctor-patient confidentiality, but promises that if she contacts the clinic, he's going to have her call them. And I mean, she Pink Panther snuck out of the hospital, so I'm not sure she's going to show up. But okay, that was my thinking at the time. But we're going to keep this thing a-moving. At the precinct, fucking hoofing it walk and talk with Craig and Stabes and Benny. They are walking at the speed people look to be walking when they're on the moving sidewalk at the airport, but are walking at a normal speed. It was just like right through. Updates on the case. Patrol officers have not seen Lauren, and Toots is out searching for her with Vice. Cragen asks Stabler if he's sure that Lauren was a sex worker. Fucking you spew at Stabes and his response and the reality of it as well. He goes, makes sense. And now with the clinic, John sees fresh meat. He wants to ride bareback. Next thing, she's got gonorrhea or chlamydia. End quote. Gross. And then Benny adds, or worse, syphilis or HIV, which is just her adding facts. But it just like fresh meat and bareback, fucking chill out.
She's 16. You know she's 16 years old.
Ick.
Stop. Yeah.
Lauren's dad called them after getting their message at 2 a.m. and has been at the precinct waiting since 5:30 that morning. He's pacing upstairs in the video game hangout area in the arcade.
The Sega Genesis room. The Dreamcast room.
In my friend's mom's basement.
It's up there crushing Miss Pac-Man like nobody's business.
That's easier than just regular Pac-Man.
I need number 2 for Street Fighter 2, you guys. Get up here. Haruken.
I was fucking looking that up the other day to try to find a meme for some response to you. I don't remember what it was. And I was like, how do you spell Haruken? Like, I wanted to send you some fucking... Anyway...
You should have seen my Google when I was trying to spell out amuse bouche the other day. I found it real fast, but I was like, wow.
Not what I thought. Later, Lauren's dad, Philip, who was in 6 episodes of Oz as Lenny Bruano.
He did look really familiar.
Bruano. So he and Maloney probably bro-hugged each other on set before shooting this. He looked familiar, you said?
Yeah, probably from Oz.
Yeah. He shows Benson and Stabler a video of Lauren singing in her school choir. He thought it might help if it was shown in the media. He tells them that she was supposed to be checking out colleges with a friend and staying with their family a few weeks ago. He had put her on a bus and gave her some money, but got worried when she stopped calling 3 days ago. So he contacted her friends, who also hadn't heard from her. So he came to look for her himself. So that's why he hadn't reported her missing, because she wasn't missing.
Yeah, he thought she was with the family.
Right. And she had been calling him. According to Philip, she wouldn't be with a boyfriend because she didn't date. And he goes, she made the golden promise.
Ugh, puke.
Gross.
You know that, and I know I've said this before, but that whole, like, I pledged my dad my virginity gives me it gives me this, like, the only one fucking my daughter is me.
It is so.
You know what I mean?
Lauren had pledged abstinence. That's what that means. I think we all know what she made the golden promise, like what that implies, but she had pledged abstinence. My note is fucking gross, all caps. Hey guys, just a little something to be aware of. Okay, in this century, your daughter's vagina doesn't belong to you until you ceremoniously pass ownership to another man while she stands there in a white dress. Like, it doesn't belong to you. For you to be like, she promised me, and her mom curled her hair for 3 hours and we went to the daddy-daughter boner dance. Just
fucking gross. It's so creepy.
Any sense of ownership that a parent has over a kid is something that those kids will hopefully be able to recognize and work through as adults in therapy.
And they don't do it equally to young boys. It's fucking weird.
No, absolutely not.
Not on the same level in a way.
Only if they are gay or on like the sexuality spectrum, or outwardly are on the sexuality spectrum. If they're effeminate in any way, it all comes back to being a woman is...
To be gay is to like men, which is to be like a woman, which is the worst possible thing a man can be.
Right.
Or anybody can be.
Yeah.
But just, it's so fucking creepy. But the guilt that comes with that for a long time... makes you feel bad. I mean, I don't anymore, but like, well, I mean, I bet you there's still some of that in there.
Oh, 100%. 100%. It's a part that's in there that maybe doesn't directly recognize what its job is, but it's there and it's wrapped in shame.
Yeah.
Anyway, this whole thing is fucking just, when I get to the chaser and everything, you'll see it's...
Oh, I don't even want to. Okay.
This stuff is so personal to us, to be as women. But anyway, Stabler brings up that sometimes kids run away due to problems at home. Full eyebrows in the hairline. But Philip says that they had
Captain crunching super hard.
Right?
Because his eyebrows are so high. Okay.
Yeah. They're on his hat. But Philip says that they had gotten closer after Lauren's mom died 10 years earlier. You mean when she was 5? Is that what you mean, Philip? We had gotten so close when she was 5 and nothing has changed since then? He tells them to do whatever they have to do to locate Lauren. They're going to go talk to her friends. That's the next step.
In Cragen's office, Munch tells Benny, Stabes, and Craigs that Lauren's blood work came back from the hospital. She's pregnant and well into her second trimester. she could have contacted the clinic about an abortion, which could be why the doctor wouldn't talk with detectives. The doctor can't talk to you guys about this stuff. It's not like he's doing it on purpose.
Right.
I mean,
should we get a warrant? Yes, you should.
Yeah, you know how this works.
That's exactly what you should do.
Yeah. They talk about that fucking golden promise shit. Munch says that abstinence is a crock of shit, and so many kids are taught that in school, and it just doesn't work. And then he brings up the school in Ohio that was taught that, and 1/5 of the students were pregnant, and 1/5 of the students got people pregnant. Let's not just say fucking... Okay. Mm-hmm. Cragen tells them...
Well, not necessarily 1/5 of the students got people pregnant. It could have been one fucking kid.
Yeah, you never know.
For all we know.
Cragen tells him to chat about this shit later and wants to know why Lauren came to New York for an abortion. Benny brings up it's because Virginia law requires teens get parental consent for an abortion. Cragen says her dad would be the very last person she would talk to, especially after she took that fucking golden promise bullshit.
Right.
Stabler wonders if her dad attacked her. He has been in town for 3 days. Later, Lauren's dad is brought to the precinct and told about the pregnancy. He's in shock. He thinks the only explanation is that she was raped. Stabler asks him where he was the night before when Lauren was attacked, around 8:30, and he pauses and he's like, wait a minute. I'm about to sandbag dad punch you in the face for saying that to me. He's so mad that Stabler would ever insinuate he hurt his daughter.
I mean, they've known each other for 40 minutes.
Right.
I can't believe you would think that.
Right. Someone like me, he's like, I don't know who you are. Okay. He says that he was getting food and has a receipt to prove it.
He's like, I made a reel of all the times we've had together, and it's just one photo of them shaking hands.
Okay. He says, and one of the hands is a woman. It's not even like their hands. It's like
it's a just stock photo.
Yeah. There's like watermarks all over it.
It's just He's like, I left that voicemail. Come on.
That was Munch.
That wasn't even.
Yeah. So this guy says, quote, my daughter was raped and you people are accusing me of attacking her. Okay, first of all, whatever.
That's your narrative.
Yeah. Cragen comes in to tell Benson and Toots that he needs him. At B&M Metro Parking, Vice found Lauren hiding in a car in the lot. She smashed a window and was able to get in and sleep. There's blood in the car. It's a sign that she wasn't well enough to leave the hospital. Benny tells Stabler to get Lauren's dad and bring him to the hospital. Benny goes to the ambulance and Lauren's eyes are closed and she is loaded in. The medics tell Benny that she lost a lot of blood and Benny rides to the hospital with Lauren. At the hospital, Benson tells the medics to keep all of Lauren's clothes. They're like, we know how to do this. Right. Lauren wakes up because they're like pushing her in the gurney thing. Lauren wakes up and Benny tells her that she's at the hospital. She asks who hurt her. The nurse says, later, please, and keeps wheeling Lauren away. Later, Benson is watching while Lauren is getting treated. One doctor says that she's got internal hemorrhaging. Just then, Lauren's dad shows up with Toots. Toots says that they found a plate and silverware and food to make a sandwich and a rose inside the car. Benny doesn't think this sounds like the average sex worker food. Like, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Right.
She's like, it's not onion rings.
Full of quinoa. Like, what?
I know.
Even though they would know better than us, but like, come on.
Right. They're canvassing the local stores to find out where she got all that stuff. A doctor comes out to update Dad, whose name is Philip, by the way. I keep forgetting to say that. A blood clot had burst and it worsened her condition. She could have died if she hadn't been found. The fetus still has a heartbeat, but is experiencing fetal distress and the anesthesia isn't helping at all. The doctor asks if they have permission to do an emergency C-section if it's needed. When asked about the possibility of the baby surviving, the doctor tells him it's around 40 to 50%, and Philip's like, do whatever you gotta do to save Lauren. Another doctor comes out. Lauren is crashing. They start CPR, and Philip and Benny are watching, like freaked out.
Ugh. Back at the precinct, Stabler and Cragen walk and talk about why Lauren was in New York. Stabler wonders why Lauren didn't get the abortion since she'd been there for a few weeks. Cragen thinks that maybe she decided to take the pregnancy to term. Benson comes in with updates. Lauren was the only survivor. Mm-hmm. Cragen wants Benson to go to the sexual health clinic again to see if Lauren had originally gone there alone. Back at the clinic, Benny and Staves get there and ask to speak with Dr. Lett. The nurse tells them that they can't discuss patients, but Stabler harshly tells her what happened to make her lose the pregnancy and that Lauren nearly died as well. His flair will definitely give the nurse nightmares, so that's awesome. Mm-hmm. So as Stabler's asking if Lauren came in alone, Dr. Lett comes around the corner corner, interrupts him and says, yeah, she had, and has them head into his office. He tells them when Lauren initially came in, she didn't know what she wanted to do. Benson wants to know if Lauren was being pressured to get the abortion. Dr. Lett thought so because Lauren mentioned that the father didn't want this. But legally, the doctor couldn't do an abortion because she was over 24 weeks along. Benny asked if he's sure, and he said he did an ultrasound that confirmed it. She had also told him the date of conception. This was all on Monday afternoon, the day she was attacked. And this is my note at the time of watching. Why am I skeptical of this guy? I immediately didn't believe him when he was like, well, she was past the date. So the doctor said Lauren was really upset to get the news. Stabler gets a call on his cellular telephone. It's Munch, and he's got something. To the precinct, let's all go to the precinct. Transition. At the precinct, Munch gives them updates. There is security footage from a store close to where Lauren was found. The footage shows a white teenage dude buying a rose and the same food and drinks they found in the car Lauren was in. Stabler calls it classic batterer behavior. He nearly beats her to death and buys her flowers to say he's sorry. Toot says he's going to fax an image of him to the cops in Pulaski, but Benny wants to check something. He's in the choir video that Lauren's dad had brought to them, which is crazy that they were in the same section of the choir because it only showed like 4 people in this video. It was a zoom in, and there he stood. Munch turns into the Sesame Street count. Two golden promises broken. I
hated that.
Thanks. Spooky season.
Spooky season.
Stabler says that they need to get Lauren to talk. Toots gets off the phone. He was on with the sheriff in Pulaski. Ask her about her sister. Sheriff says she used to have one. Benny asks if she's dead. Kind of. She got pregnant and was thrown out of the house by Philip. Gave her some money and said he never wanted to see her again.
It's so wild to me parents can do that.
It is. I can't imagine that being an option in a family. It's heartbreaking.
It's so wild. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It's unconscionable. It's really unfortunate that that's what you were taught is the solution to something that you don't understand and you don't agree with. But like you're hurting other people with that belief. This purity shit is fucked.
It's fucked up.
All of it's bananas.
Yeah.
So yeah, here we are. We find out that her sister was disowned.
Because her dad didn't have control over her vagina. That's so fucking gross.
What's the church gonna think?
You have
We're
a grandchild. You have a fucking grandchild somewhere. At the hospital, Benny shows Lauren the pic of the boy from the security footage from the choir stuff and asks who he is. Philip answers. The boy's name is Wayne Mortons. Philip, he's like at a 10. Did he rape you? And then pressures her to tell the detectives what Wayne did to her. She doesn't want to talk. Benny's like, dude, fucking relax. And Stabler's like, come on, let's go outside and have a chat, Philip. And he's like, no. But Stabler's like, get out here. You're not wanted here. Outside, Philip tells Stabes that Wayne is a year older than Lauren. So he gives her a ride to school sometimes. His dad is in the army and his mom is a nurse. So he's on his own a lot. Philip is still holding on to the idea that Wayne raped Lauren. And then Stabler tells him that he may need to accept the possibility that Lauren and Wayne had consensual sex. Philip says that would never happen. She would never betray me, he says. Yuck.
I mean, he is brainwashed to a level as well. It didn't even compute to him that this would happen.
Yeah. Stabler thinks that she was scared to tell Philip about being pregnant because of what he did to Lauren's sister. And then Philip gets all fucking pissed and he tells him that isn't any of his fucking business and to do his damn job and catch Wayne. Stabler asks for Wayne's parents' numbers, but Philip actually has Wayne's actual cell phone number. So Stabler's like, hold on a second, I'm going to fucking call this guy. And he's like, whoa, you're going to scare him away.
Stabler's like, well, yeah, either that or I'm just going to scream at him from across the street. See what happens.
I know. Stabler calls Wayne and says, hey, this is Stabler from St. Vincent's Hospital. Lauren asked me to call. Wayne asks how Lauren is. Stabler tells him that she's fine and then lets him know what room she's in. They're going to fucking trap him. And then here's what I thought. I was like, oh my God, I just realized that Wayne beat her up because they were trying to make her have a miscarriage because she couldn't have an abortion because she was too far along. That's why he took the bulb and shade off the lamp. Oh, I fucking nailed that.
Same.
Yeah, but that's kind of obvious, Gabe, so.
I feel like, especially knowing these clinics, like the second I saw that clinic name, I'm like, no.
Yep. So that was a red flag immediately. I was like, I need Planned Parenthood or nothing.
Or nothing. I'm not going off yet because it's all wrapped into post episode. We'll get there.
Yeah. Back in Lauren's room, Benny asks if Wayne is the father of her baby. She's not talking. Then Benny asks if she was raped by Wayne. Then Lauren says that they didn't mean for it to happen and asks if she can see the baby. Benson tells her that the medical examiner took the baby so that they could figure out what happened. Benny asks her if she wanted to keep the baby. Lauren says the doctor told her she had to keep it and that the news made Wayne angry and he hit her. Oh my God. So a super worried Wayne shows up to the hospital front desk asking where Lauren is. Stabler calls Wayne's name from 100 yards away, naturally.
Of course.
Wayne, over here.
How else do you covertly capture someone? He's like, I've got this slick little trick, Philip. I'm going to call him in and I'm going to make him think I work at the hospital. But then also I'm going to pull my badge out when he has plenty of a head start.
Yeah. So of course, Wayne runs, but he trips over a cleaning cart and Stabler gets to him and arrests him.
Stabler's like, I put that cart there.
That's my contribution. The cart has like a suit and tie and a badge. And Wayne's like, oh, fuck.
And a ponytail.
Like, Lieutenant, get him. Yeah, ponytail.
P.S. Did Wayne look familiar to you at this point?
I don't
Did
know.
Wayne look familiar, maybe?
I didn't clock it.
This guy played Evan Treborn at 13, a young Ashton Kutcher in The Butterfly Effect.
I'm watching that right now.
Yes.
I'm literally watching that movie right now.
Love. This is the young one. He was also the boy that was a part of the family being held hostage in Unbreakable by the dude, hey, I like your house, can I come in? That guy. Those are itty bitty roles, but both movies that I've seen way too many times. So I'm like, yep, I know exactly that part. His biggest role was more recent, 40 episodes as Gabe Mitchell in the series Dear White People, which I have not seen.
Oh, really? It's really good. You should watch it.
Okay. One more. He was in a movie called Jane Mansfield's Car, which I've never seen, but it sparked my interest because Jane Mansfield was Mariska Hargitay's mom and was killed in a car accident with Mariska in the back seat. I think we all know that. Yeah. But that's just interesting,
It's so crazy because I'm literally watching Butterfly Effect again right now, and my name is Gabe, and it's all pointing back to us and SVU. We need to interview him.
All brings it back. Ooh, artistic transition from Wayne looking up at Stabler from the floor of the hospital to Wayne looking up at Stabler from a chair as he's being interrogated at the precinct.
Ooh.
Stabler asks Wayne why he had Lauren's wallet when he was arrested. Benson says it's because he stole it after beating Lauren so hard that he terminated the pregnancy. Stabler asked him why he wanted to get rid of the baby and tells him that they know he made Lauren come with to New York to get an abortion. Wayne's lawyer tells him that he doesn't have to answer their questions. Benson goes on with what they think happened when Wayne found out that it was too late for the abortion. Wayne blurts out, "It wasn't Lauren's fault. I did it. I hit her." Wayne's lawyer, Lyndon Delroy, tells Wayne to shut up and asks to speak to the ADA. Just a reminder, this dude, Lyndon Delroy, is a series regular until 2012.
Okay.
Later, we pan out of the interrogation room to the other side of the glass where Delroy is telling Novak that Wayne is a decent kid that got caught up and panicked. Benson argues that Wayne was calm enough to take the bulb and shade off the lamp before hitting Lauren with it. Delroy says that Wayne was under severe emotional distress. Then he asks Novak for misdemeanor assault and 5 years of probation. Novak jumps in. He killed a baby, Mr. Delroy. But he argues that because the fetus was stillborn, it doesn't count as a person under New York state law. Novak tells him that she's taking the case to trial. Wayne committed first-degree assault and an unjustified abortional act on the fetus. She also intends to charge Wayne with murder if the autopsy proves that the baby took a breath of air outside of the womb. In the office of the medical examiner, Coroner Warner tells Benson and Novak that the fetus's body shows 20 blows of trauma or impact and had a fractured skull. I fucking hate this so much. The technical cause of death was hypertension from the lack of blood flow caused by Lauren's attack. The autopsy shows that the fetus did not breathe outside of the womb, so Wayne won't be charged with murder. The bruising on Lauren's abdomen matched the lamp, but there were other bruises too. Another weapon could have been used, but they look like the marks from a watch our jewelry. There were several rectangle bruises, but Wayne wasn't wearing any jewelry. Benson acts it out and thinks that the only way to get the specific marks Lauren had would be from hitting your own stomach. And when the realization crosses Benny's face, we can see why Mariska Hargitay is a fucking Emmy winner. When she had that moment, it gave me chills. Her acting is just, I love her. I know it's a unique take, but I love Mariska Hargitay. In the hospital, Lauren's hastily packing up her things while Benny and Stabes ask her some questions. She clearly is trying to get away from the detectives. Benson asks Lauren if she tried to stop Wayne from attacking her. Yes. Stabler asks if she ran away from the ER to hide from Wayne. Yes. But says that he found her in the car, and that's why she let him buy her food. Stabler's like, wow, crazy. In all the 2 blocks of all of New York City, he found you? That is insane.
That's like the first time they've acknowledged how big the city is.
Yes. Yeah.
And how people like can remember other. He's like, wow.
That's so weird that he would find you in this. It's big. It's a big city. It's a big. Have you ever been to New York? It's a crazy city.
Cashier's like, yeah, I remember Lauren. She came in 2 weeks ago at this grocery store. And you're like, what?
Oh, you mean that blonde white teen? Yeah, I remember her. I remember her because
you bought a pack of gum. It was extra polar ice.
I remember because it was expired, but she didn't care.
Yeah, she reminded me of my daughter.
My daughter's name was Lauren. Anyway, yeah, in all of New York, in all of the area, he found you, right? Benson calls her out on calling Wayne after he had beat her. As Lauren's crying and saying she didn't know what else to do, she was in pain, please leave me alone, her dad, Philip, walks in. Like, what in the no adult present is going on here? Stabler straight up asks Lauren if she tried to harm the fetus. Lauren says she didn't, but Benson notices the watch she's wearing and it matches the bruises on her stomach. Fucking wake up, orchestra pit. It is time to swell that beautiful bead footage. Benson...
This is New York City.
New York City. Benson tells her, Lauren...
Did you write that down? There's no way. You just...
No.
Of course. That was awesome.
Yeah, all of these things clearly go together. There's an orchestra pit, swelling beans,
beautiful
New York City, which is not that ad. That is a fucking salsa ad.
Whatever.
Okay. Benson tells Lauren that you hit yourself, honey. We can see that. Lauren apologizes to her dad and starts crying. Stabler then says that Lauren had Wayne hit her after. Like we're all aware of what's going on. And Benson is trying to get some clarity here and brings up that the witnesses heard Lauren yelling, "Stop, don't." Like, what the fuck was that about? And Lauren corrects her and she says, "No, I was saying don't stop." Dad, Philip, can't take it. He leaves the room. Daddy, please. Which, to clarify, I just like saying it like that. It's absolutely heartbreaking and fucked up that this girl felt like the only way out of her situation was to do this and risk her life, Wayne's freedom, and this possibly viable fetus. I don't know.
This is the kind of shit that happens when with these weird social constructs that we make up, like not to be gay, not to have sex. I mean, people, to save their social standings, get put into positions where this kind of shit, it's whatever.
Why in the fat fucking hell do we as a country police uteruses and teach abstinence like it matters to anyone?
And it's over and over and over and over again proven it doesn't work.
And it's like, well, so Stabler goes after this dad. Philip tells him he's going home. Keep her, lock her up. I don't care. Wow. Stabler confronts him and tells him that kids aren't disposable. I don't care what your beliefs are. You can't stop loving her. Like, I know you didn't stop thinking about your other daughter. And this made Philip stop. She self-terminated the pregnancy because she was afraid of Philip. Stabler tells Philip to not prove Lauren right. Thank God this man had another man there to explain to him that he shouldn't abandon his child. He full on was going to make a life-changing decision until some dude that he's known for 47 minutes at this point tells him, you shouldn't do that. And he's like, whoa, I've had these girls in my life for a lifetime. They've imprinted on me as the most important man in their life at this point. But you, sir, what's your name again? Elliot? You, sir, changed my mind. I don't want to abandon her as I did my other. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So Philip's like, I do love her. My heart grew 3 sizes, Mr. Grinch. And Philip wonders, I'm just so angry. I don't even know what to do.
Yeah.
Philip wonders what will happen to Lauren. Stabler tells him, that's up to the DA.
More like DAD.
Did you write that down?
No. Of course not.
I loved it. I hated it, but like I loved it.
Yeah.
More like DAD, right? And then they almost hugged, but they didn't because I'd be gay.
It'd be so gay. They're like, let's go to a movie and sit 4 seats apart. Let's get in a hot tub, but sit 5 feet away. What's that Vine? Yeah. 2 Jews in a hot tub 5 feet away because they're not gay. Or whatever. Like, sit in my lap in a hot tub, okay?
Please.
It's so much fun. We'll take turns laying on our backs and we'll lift each other up and walk each other around. Spin me around so I have mermaid hair. Okay. At Rikers Island, Novak goes to speak with Wayne. Sophie DeVere is representing him. She, who's that lady? Do your whole thing with her.
Oh, yeah. She's a series regular. Yeah. She's Southern. She is Grace Under Fire's best friend in a completely other series that I was obsessed with for some weird reason.
Me too.
She's great. She's like, Stabler, no. Yeah. She's very no nonsense. Mm-hmm. But as an actor too, we love. Yeah.
So Novak walks up to her and she's like, oh. Sophie asks Novak if she's here to offer him a deal. Novak says that she's actually here to see if he'll corroborate Lauren's confession. And Sophie's like, ooh, congrats. You finally realize she's complicit. You gonna charge her too? Very profesh.
Yeah. I don't understand.
I don't know why.
The voice you're going with. I'm liking it.
Thanks.
Oh,
we're competing now. In the room, Novak asks Wayne whose idea it was for Lauren to hurt herself. He says it was Lauren's idea because when the doctor said it was too late to get an abortion, she came back to the hotel hysterical and worried about getting kicked out by her dad. She told Wayne that they had to get rid of the baby, and then Wayne starts crying. He said she laid down in the bed and wanted Wayne to hit her with the lamp after taking the shade and bulb off, but at first he couldn't do it. She started hitting herself and then kept pushing him to hit her, and so he did. Wayne cries and Sophie is comforting him. Sophie and Novak step away to talk. Sophie says that they're just kids, but Novak says that they made a plan and executed it.
I still really very much feel for these 2 kids though.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's a really tough, it doesn't have to be really tough. Like these are 2 kids that were like, these are what our options are based on the world that is presented to them.
They're trying to find a solution to something when the adults around them like lied to them.
And failed them on so many fronts.
Right. Sophie says that it was Lauren's plan. And Novak says that Wayne made the choice to hit her, not once or twice, but 20-something times. And then Sophie says that Lauren hit herself too. And Novak's like, I know, I'm going to charge them both. Sophie asked if charging Lauren with a misdemeanor and Wayne with a felony seems fair. So, of course, Novak goes to speak with DA Branch. Novak says that this whole thing is complicated. Both Lauren and Wayne are kids and committed the same crime, but are being charged wildly different, and it seems super unfair. Branch asks who is the primary cause of the fetus's death, and Novak says it's Wayne, but Lauren insisted and abetted the act. Branch tells her to go by the law, and that Lauren should be pled out on the misdemeanor and Wayne should be prosecuted for the felony. Just then, Sophie DeVere comes in, and she's like, just working late for women's rights. You remember those, right? I'm like, oh. She says, quote, a lot of people want to take us back to the 50s and look what we got, a 50s crime. And then Branch asks her if she's forgotten that Wayne, her client, is a male. So she has a motion to dismiss Wayne based on the 14th Amendment. The 2 kids shouldn't be treated differently in this case based on their gender because it violates the Equal Protection Clause. Sophie leaves and Branch asks Novak who the judge for the case is, and it's fucking Donnelly.
Fucking Donnelly.
Mm-hmm. And then Branch calls her his, quote, favorite radical feminist. He thinks that the motion will appeal to her. He wants Novak to talk to Donnelly and get her to recuse herself from the case due to her public views on abortion, which is she's like pro-choice. And then Novak's like, dude, I think Donnelly is capable of putting her shit aside and that she can try the case. But Branch doesn't want to take that risk. I'm like, this is going to be a shitty conversation for Novak to have with Donnelly.
Yes.
I start out like, hi, Branch told me to tell you to recuse yourself. It's not me. It's not me. I love you. You know what I mean?
I was like, no. And he was like, you have to. So
yeah. It's like, why don't Branch you do it? I'd be like, Dad, can you call? Will you do it? Cut to a heated courthouse walk and talk with Novak and Donnelly. Donnelly is fucking pissed, of course, that Novak would even think to ask her to recuse herself. Like, you don't think I can do my fucking job? They go back and forth. Novak says that Donnelly's public views on abortion will make her look like she can't make an impartial judgment. And then Donnelly tries to flex, like she spins around, briefcase and all. Briefcase comes a little bit later because it's heavier.
But as soon as she like turns on her heel, Novak stops her by calling after her, Elizabeth. Donnelly turns around like, excuse me, and my first name? Like, are you fucking serious?
Donnelly tries to flex and says that she was against detention without trial in Guantanamo Bay, but she still tried terrorism cases. This is all going back to 9/11 shit. Novak says that Donnelly's presence will also politicize the case and be fuel for the pro-life lobbyists. Donnelly thinks that her presence will actually fuel the pro-choice lobby, and then is like, oh, you know about that, right? Remember pro-choice? What if you abandon that? And then Novak says, it's my job to work this case regardless of my views. And Donnelly says, yeah, and it's my job to try it. Why does it apply to you but not me? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Donnelly tells Novak to tell Branch to screw himself and walks away. So at least she's acknowledging that it was Branch's idea.
Yes.
Novak tells, well, of course, Novak came up with that herself. No way. I mean, not that she couldn't, I'm just saying, like, she wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then Novak says, like, I don't want to make an official request for you to have to recuse yourself.
Shit on paper.
But I will, and I'll win. Please don't make me do that. Because she doesn't want to. She respects Donnelly. She considers her a mentor, I think.
Yeah.
When they're old, they'll probably hang out. I don't know.
Oh, when we're having drinks, call me Mary. Like, yeah, that's how that works.
That's how it works. Donnelly gets in Novak's face and is like, are you fucking threatening me, bitch? And then Novak says, no, I'm asking as a friend.
And the tips of their pointy heels are just barely touching.
They're kissing. They're about to kiss. And then Donnelly says, Branch really got to you, didn't he? But she finally agrees to recuse herself, but tells Novak that she's playing politics with the law and heading down a slippery slope.
Next scene. Novak and DeVere get to the courtroom before everybody else, okay? DeVere brings up Donnelly recusing herself and asks Novak if she knows anything about that. And Novak fully bullshits her and is like, maybe she didn't want to give me an unfair advantage, you know, because we're besties, which is like the worst argument, considering that means she'd have to recuse herself every time Novak would appear in front of her. Think about it, Casey. And DeVere doesn't buy it anyway. She accuses Novak and Branch of getting her to do it because they didn't want their case thrown out. Novak flips her hair and starts painting her nails. If your motion depends on getting Donnelly, then you don't have much of an argument. DeVere is all of a sudden in an enormous fur stole, throws it over her shoulder and says, well, we'll see. Cut to these gals in the chambers of Judge Petrovsky. She's going to be doing it now. DeVere argues that Lauren and Wayne should get the same treatment because showing Lauren preferential treatment would be sexist. Novak argues that pregnant women are under more stress, especially if they're fucking 16. And I'll add 16 with zero emotional support under the threat of abandonment. DeVere brings up 18-year-old women in Iraq. That is such a straw man argument. My dad was born in 1936 and compared to your dad looks like a stack of hay with eyes. Like, that's what she's trying to present right now. Because they're two different topics. There's two different things. Like 18-year-old fucking young women in Iraq. And it's like, we're talking about a 16-year-old pregnant girl. Like, stop
from Virginia. Like, it's a different,
DeVere's trying to say that Novak is arguing that Lauren, as a 16-year-old, isn't mature enough to face the consequences of her actions. And that's sexist and offensive. I agree she should face equivalent charges as her boyfriend. That's not what Novak was ever saying, though. Novak brings up that DeVere had previously argued the opposite, saying that the stress of pregnancy could be used to defend against violent actions. The judge tells DeVere to take her issue up with the appeals court and says that the trial's going to proceed. The judge goes to leave and DeVere makes another request to have the baby referred to as, quote, the fetus instead of, quote, the unborn child or the, quote, baby, because the emotive tones are prejudicial towards Wayne. Agreed. Novak argues that the baby was old enough to have survived outside the womb, but DeVere argues that since it did not, it does not count as a person, but as a fetus. So this whole episode had to have the country in a full fucking panty twist. Chubby checker, double knot, fucking panty twist. The judge agrees that it is prejudicial, but then says, quote, the dead baby will only be referred to as the fetus. I did not like the way she said that.
I was like, damn.
That was like, don't tell us
In this
where
economy?
you stand without yes. But again, they're arguing written law, which requires words and specific verbiage. So to say the words, it does not count as a person, doesn't mean that you don't hold value. You know, telling me I don't count as a person is telling me that I don't hold value. But when they use those words regarding a fetus, it's just talking about where it's at in the gestational process and life timeline. That's all that means. It's not talking about its value. And that's what gets fucking muddy a lot of times, right? I think so. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
Let's go to court. Let's go to court. In court, Coroner Warner's on the stand as Novak questions her. Novak asks her how much force it would have taken to crack the fetus's skull. Coroner Warner said it would take a lot since bones aren't fully calcified yet. When Novak asks a question about the level of pain the victim felt, DeVere objects and the two start arguing about using the term victim for the fetus since it's not technically the victim as a person would be considered. Petrovsky is going to allow the question, but then DeVere quotes the Journal of the American Medical Association saying a fetus doesn't feel pain until 29 weeks, but Novak argues other studies showing 23 weeks, and they go back and forth again until Judge Petrovsky breaks it up and sustains the objection. And I didn't know that either about the like when it feels pain thing.
Yeah.
Novak then asks Coroner Warner if the attack was what led to the death of the fetus, and Coroner Warner says it did. DeVere cross-examines Coroner Warner next. DeVere shows the two photos of Lauren's stomach with the bruises from Lauren's watch. Then Coroner Warner identifies the watch being what caused those bruises. DeVere asks her to confirm if Lauren harmed the fetus. Coroner Warner confirms, no further questions. Boop. Next, DeVere cross-examines Lauren. Lauren says that she and Wayne only had sex once. They didn't mean for it to happen. It just did, which is a fucking understandable thing. You're a teenager. This shit happens. It's not something that a parent is going to fucking sit and go, yeah, that makes sense, because they forget that they were fucking humans at that age anyway.
Yeah.
She didn't realize she was pregnant until 13 weeks later when she had missed her third period. She didn't tell anyone because she was scared her dad would throw her out of the house.
Just like I did with her sister.
She saw in real time what happens.
There'd be no reason for her to think that he wouldn't kick her out.
Exactly. It wasn't her making any kind of weird assumption. This is the order of operations in her home. And she was terrified. She's a kid. Her mom's gone. This is the only person she had, you know? And her sister's probably been demonized since she lost her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Lauren and Wayne went to the pharmacy, and the pharmacist wouldn't sell her an abortion pill because of his conscience, which is fucking nuts. The hospital wouldn't let her have an abortion without her father's consent. Ugh!
She was literally from realizing her period was late to trying different things to stop this.
So this stuff was happening. Boom, boom, boom. She's like, all right, we're going to the pharmacy. Pharmacist's like, no. She goes to the doctor. The doctor's like, we need your dad. Then Lauren read about an herb that could cause an abortion, but it only made her sick. She was actively trying to go about this fucking legally. Every legal channel that she had as an option in her mind, she tried.
Yep.
Then she came to New York, but by the time she got in to see the doctor, they said it was too late to get an abortion. She had no way out, and she wanted to fucking kill herself. So as she sits on the stand, she's like, yeah, I told Wayne to hit me. And he did it because she asked him to. DeVere sets up her own layup with, now Wayne is on trial and you're free. Does that seem fair to you? Novak fucking flips the table, objection, and DeVere's like, never mind, and sits back down. Novak's turn. She makes it pretty clear that she isn't vibing with Lauren's, quote, sob story. Novak points out that Lauren shouldn't have waited so long to go to the clinic. You were in New York for 2 weeks. You could have gotten a legal abortion. She said that she went in the day she got to New York, but the nurse told her she had to wait because she had a temperature and was told to call back when she felt better. Lauren did call back, but by the time she got in for her appointment, it was too late. Court's adjourned for the next day. Novak fucking storms over to Benson and asks her why the fuck they didn't know about the other visit. The kids never mentioned it, neither did the doctor. We know shit's going down because the swell is fucking swelling. It is swelly in there. In the clinic, back to that fucking clinic. I knew I didn't trust this guy. Benson asks Let if he saw Lauren the first time she came in. He gets up to check the records. Remember filing cabinets? It was like this whole big pile of fucking drawers on the side. Wild.
Deep, too. They're like deep drawers.
Deep. Pull out that big metal drawer. That thing better be anchored to the fucking wall or you're going to get like
I can hear the noise of the drawer
hear
opening.
It rolling on those fucking casters.
Yeah.
The little extra tug you have to get it because it's so heavy.
You always forget you got to push that little like square thing in a little bit. That like locks it.
Stabler also tells him to check the record for the fever she was told about because Lauren said she felt fine. Dr. Let scoffs at this and goes, "Are you going to believe a scared teenager or a doctor with a thermometer?" The file says she had a fever of 102 and the procedure would have been too risky. So they couldn't do it that first time she came in. I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all, is me watching. Judy Galton was the nurse who examined her, but Judy doesn't work there anymore. Dr. Let says, yeah, this work can be so stressful. These two are really sniffing this guy's butt. They're sensing what I am, for sure. We are all detectives.
There's a number 2 coming and they sniffed it out.
Gross. We are all detectives except for Gabe. She's not. She's a fucking basset hound. We're smelling for poop, right, guys? Benson asks Let why it took him so long to see Lauren for a second appointment. She was told to call and make a new appointment. And he says, looks like she just took her time getting back to us. Stabler's not taking that. No, she called you every day, at least 3 times a day for 2 fucking weeks. They had gotten the LUDs from the hotel payphone. But again, this doctor comes back by saying the cops don't know it was her calling from that payphone. His arguments are getting thinner and thinner. His arguments are like, oh my God, thank you.
His arguments waist is snatched.
Snatched for the gods. 23 inches. Is that small? I don't know.
I don't know. I think it is.
I'm trying to remember Violet Chachki's measurements.
That's what
I think it's 19. I think she's gotten down to 19. That or Dita Von Teese got down to 19. I don't remember.
Oh my God. Their fucking organs are fucked up.
Oh.
Dita Von Teese does not age. I don't know what.
No.
Yeah.
She does not. But I don't think she leaves an indoor space for any reason. Her skin has never seen the sun.
Yeah.
Benson calls this doctor out, wondering if he made her wait until it was too late because he didn't want to give her a legal abortion. Let says that the accusation is outrageous and unprovable. And if anybody's going to prove it, these guys are. Boom. Novak and DeVere join forces for a powerful walk and talk. Novak tells DeVere there are no records of the clinic performing a single abortion. DeVere says that it's a fucking fake abortion clinic. They're springing up all over the country. Okay. And DeVere goes, girl, you know if I put that doctor on the stand, the jury's going to be on my side. And they're both pacing like 2 feminist boats with rage rudders. Just ugh. Novak replies to her, you might not be able to prove fraud, but it does look like he was deliberately trying to mislead Lauren. Branch slunks into the doorway behind DeVere as she's asking Novak if she gets Lauren's medical records to show the medical examiner if she'll be willing to make a deal. Like, can we make a deal if I can get this fucking shit together? Branch from behind her asks DeVere to please excuse us. The gals eye roll at each other because dad's gonna come in and talk boys and periods like he knows anything. And DeVere leaves the office. Branch asks Novak why she's making a deal. And Novak explains the situation with Let. He forced Lauren and Wayne into a corner.
You sounded drunk when you were like, Branch asks Novak why she's making a deal.
Okay, I'll do it again.
No, don't. It was great.
Oh, Branch asks Novak why she's making a deal.
He's like, Branch? I know what you're doing and I get it. He's like, shots. Okay.
Branch asks Novak, why are you making a deal? Novak explains the situation with Let and says he forced Lauren and Wayne into a corner. Branch doesn't fucking care. Let didn't tell Wayne to beat Lauren and tells Novak to do her fucking job, not make deals and prosecute the crime. It's what we're here for. Novak tells him, dude, I'm losing the jury. But Branch wants her to send the message that the city won't tolerate violent crimes, no matter the duress. I'm like, get out of here, foghorn, leghorn. Fuck off.
So Novak meets up with Benson. Benny tells Novak that it seems like she doesn't agree with Branch. She's like, are you not on the same page with old Branch? Novak thinks that if she wins, she'll still feel like she convicted the wrong person. Benson says that both Lauren and Wayne had a part in ending the pregnancy. Novak brings up that they tried the legal route to an abortion, even a fucking, quote, medieval herbal remedy, but they were blocked on every step. Dr. Lett was their last resort, and he let them down. Benson spoke to the nurse, Judy, and she corroborated Lett's story, so they can't prove anything. Coroner Warner walks in and says, maybe this'll help. Like she heard them from 400 miles away. Anyways.
She heard them talking. She's like, I'm going to listen for a little while until the perfect moment.
And then come out of the shadows with a vial or whatever.
What is this wall of shrubbery? She comes out. She's Homer Simpson. What about this, you guys?
They're like, oh my God. It's you there. Anyway, so Emmy comes in with Lauren's records. She wants to know, when does a doctor in a busy clinic take a patient's blood pressure and temp? She says, I wouldn't do it. And I don't like that, by the way. I feel like every time I go to the doctor, they take my, I don't know. But I mean, it's busy. It's New York. I don't know.
A doctor doesn't do it, though. A nurse does it.
A nurse. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, Coroner Warner, everybody that comes to you is dead.
Right. Benson says that the nurse would do that.
Blood pressure 0.
What?
Wow. This is happening a lot. This is crazy.
What if she did that by herself sometimes as a joke? She's like, oh, what is this? What are you? We need to do chest compressions. Am I right? I love you guys. I love each and every one of you.
I didn't know any better. I'd think that you were dead.
She has them all
got a string
with
on somebody.
Yes. I love you so much.
But also, like, that's terrible.
We're so fucked up. We're both like, we've got strings on. Okay.
I'm doing this tonight. I don't know if that's the right video.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Benson says that the nurse would do that, right? And Coroner Warner agrees and says that the nurse would note the numbers in the chart, but they are missing and only Let signed Lauren's chart. Novak says she wants to speak with Judy. Nurse Judy.
Nurse Judy.
Nurse Judy is sleeping with Sergeant TC trash cart, so it should be easy to find her. Now we're at a trial. Novak asked Judy on the stand, and we recognize her from the first scene. She was at the place, and I remember because her face in the background was like, dude comes in and he's like, get out of here, Judy. Novak asked Judy on the stand if she worked for the Manhattan's Women's Sexual Health Clinic. Judy says yes, and that she worked there when she saw Lauren. She examined Lauren and took her temp when she came in. Judy says she sees a lot of patients, but did not forget Lauren after what happened to her. And then Novak says, you're a witness. And then pauses to see Branch with his arms crossed by the front door of the courtroom. Ooh, he's like, what? What are you doing? Happy. So DeVere cross-examines Judy. Judy tells her that Lauren's temperature was normal and that the chart saying her temp was 102 was incorrect. Judy says that Dr. Lett told her to lie to delay performing the abortion until it was too late. Then DeVere asks her why she left the clinic. The music gets all swelly, that beautiful bean footage. And Judy says she's against abortion and was fine with just persuading women and girls to not get abortions, but she left because there were things happening that she didn't agree with, like what they did with Lauren. Judy starts crying and talks about how Lauren called every day multiple times, and Dr. Lett told Judy to lie to Lauren each time she called. Later, Wayne is found guilty for third-degree misdemeanor assault and not guilty for felony charges for the unjustified abortion. The court is adjourned, and you see Lauren and her dad hugging. Benson comes over and checks on Novak, but Branch comes over and he seems pissed. He calls Novak out on handing the case to the defense. Novak tells him that Wayne still has probation, though. Branch says that he's pro-life, but even more pro-law, and he tells Novak to arrest Dr. Lett. Benny and Novak go to the clinic and walk past the nurse's station. Lett is with a patient and is arrested for fraud, forging medical records, and reckless endangerment. And he's let out in cuffs by Benson. Lett says that he's saving innocent lives and he didn't do anything wrong. Toy fucking Yoda. Bye, bitch. I'm surprised more of these people don't get fucking arrested for this shit. For like, because it's like fraudulent. It's fucking... because they're like, I'm saving lives. The fuck you are. You're like killing people.
Let me tell you about this. Boop, boop,
okay.
Boop, boop. Before I get started, this is such an important conversation to have. I really do. Like, some of these things in the earlier episodes of SVU are problematic, et cetera, et cetera. We've had that conversation a bunch, but bringing awareness to the fact that these places exist, I feel like was that could have helped so many young people with uteruses looking for help.
Yes.
That weren't necessarily going to get it if they walk through the doors of one of these places.
Yeah.
And it's also important, especially since the overturning of Roe v. Wade in 2022. And I wanted to go over that super quick. For anyone outside of the U.S., Roe v. Wade made abortion a federal constitutional right by way of the 14th Amendment. So it was leaving it to each state to govern our uteruses as opposed to federally. Abortion is now banned in 14 of our 50 states because Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Federally.
Why
didn't they codify that shit? I can't. Okay.
That is that John and I were talking about it this morning. Okay. So it had all this time to be codified. They didn't
50
do
years.
It. Yes, because we're like, that would never happen. And all of these politicians are like, well, I'm not going to bring it up because this president's in their first term and this is whatever. And how's this going to look? And, you know, all that fucking, this is a job sort of shit. Our public servants are not fucking public servants.
No, we know. Yeah.
They haven't been in forever. These are fucking career
We
politicians.
all fucking know this, and I've said this before, but our trusted officials, our politicians, their wives, their daughters, and their mistresses will all have access to safe abortions, period, forever. And always have.
Right. So in 2022, they're like, this is not protected by the Constitution. So every state got to go, all right, what are we going to do with it? Abortion is now banned in 14 of our 50 states. Some others have very few exceptions, including the pregnant person's life being in danger or if the fetus will not survive the pregnancy. In several other states, abortion is legal, but with restrictions that vary in severity. Some states, abortion is banned after 6 weeks gestation, some at 12, some at 21. Many with restrictions regarding parental permission for people under 18. Keep in mind that providers are not required to offer abortion services to the gestational period allowed by their state. Okay, calm down, Trump. Like, you can...
I've literally heard him say that he was like, you can have an abortion 2 years after birth or something like that. Like, just some of the...
They set it aside and decide what to do with it. That's not a thing. That's murder. That's not a thing when a person is born.
Set it aside.
But yes, the providers are not required to offer abortion services to the gestational period allowed. So if it does say 21 weeks, a provider doesn't have to say that. They just have the option of that being available to them. Providers do. Okay.
Yeah.
Just because it's our home state, I wanted to give the specifics in Wisconsin. Abortion is legal up until 21 weeks and 6 days. But a lot of providers stop offering abortion early on, and other Wisconsin laws make it more difficult to access abortion care here. You also need parental permission if you're under 18. Regarding the parental permission thing, you can seek a judicial bypass. This is not just in Wisconsin. I've attached the resources with information regarding all of this in the show notes of the episode at our website, svupod.com. So you can go to it. You can click on that page right to judicial bypass and get to all of that stuff via our website.
Please.
Anyway, I want to talk about crisis pregnancy centers in our country. I am not telling you of a crime. This is another one of those episodes where I'm like, I want to give information and just
It's a crime as far as I'm fucking concerned.
Well, it is
But
not.
yeah.
It is not a crime. It is wild. It is not a crime. So I want to talk about these places. When I was 21, I got pregnant. Whoops. I was a case of lack of education. I didn't realize that missing a couple of pills here and there could result in a pregnancy, a couple of pills here and there. Like, I wasn't consistent with taking my birth control. Young people. I didn't have insurance at the time. So after I got a positive pregnancy test, I made an appointment at a crisis pregnancy center. There are over 2,500 of these places with at least 60 in our state, and they offered free ultrasounds, free pregnancy tests, free pregnancy counseling, etc. I didn't know what I was going to do at that point. I just wanted to understand all of my options. So I went in, I filled out all of the medical paperwork, met with a provider. I was led to believe she was a nurse. After getting another positive pregnancy test at that appointment, they wanted to schedule an ultrasound. So remember, this is 2005. We didn't have smartphones or immediate internet access. I was relying on these medical professionals, heavy quotes that I thought, medical professionals, to help me make an informed decision. And I asked about termination. They gave me pamphlets and talked me through abortion causing severe depression, mental illness, infertility, fucking cancer. then steered me toward carrying the pregnancy and choosing adoption instead of termination if I still didn't want to have a baby. They talked about Planned Parenthood as if it were a baby murder clinic. It was very, very, very clear.
It's funny because it's so hilarious. I've never been pregnant or had an abortion, and I used Planned Parenthood for lots of things like getting, like that's how I found out I had the shit that I had to get a biopsy for, like when I was like 24.
Yeah.
Birth control, information about birth control, like just stuff. Like, I mean, I've had checkups.
Right.
I mean, I think like 1% of fucking what they do is abortions or something like that. And
yes.
And I don't give a shit if they do. Good for them to do abortions. I don't care what percent. I don't care if it's 90%. But I'm just saying, like, it does so much for men and women and people.
Up to this point, I had only been to Planned Parenthood like when I was a teenager, and I knew my parents wouldn't let me get birth control, and I went to Planned Parenthood. I had a pap smear. I got birth control. I don't remember. I think I saw a billboard or something. I was 21. I was terrified. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I'm at this place. This is the information I'm receiving. And I'm so impressionable and confused and just like trying to keep my head above water. And this is the raft I'm hanging on to. And fortunately, my ex was there. Not a phrase I've said very often. And he realized what was going on, like what the place was. I was swimming in desperation. So I just wanted a medical person to help me. And he was like, this fucking place is not the place. Like, we need to go to Planned Parenthood. So I said, all right. And we went there, where I was told that abortion was actually a super safe procedure. Major complications were less than 1%. They gave me all of the options without opinions, even though I probably asked every person I spoke to, what should I do? I decided on termination for several reasons, and I had to watch a video about it, wait 3 days, talk to somebody. These were all state requirements at the time.
Yeah.
I was told up until the last moments that I could change my mind. I mean, like, I'm on a table. I was given pain medication, and they were like, and they step by step walked me through what they were doing. And they asked me if I was sure a million times. Like, this other place was like, the way they talked about Planned Parenthood to me described a place that was like the dude who collected Nazi scalps. Whatever, from Inglourious Bastards, like, they're just tallying their abortions. You know, whoever gets the most at the end of the week gets a fucking Friday's gift card. But the people that I worked with were so kind, and their bedside manner was great. Like, you're going through this thing, and this is not an easy decision to make, but there was no judgment or shame or anything around it. All of that was coming from internally. That was so I was lucky because I consider that choice one of the best and most pivotal decisions of my life.
I don't know where you'd be right now. Honestly,
I have no idea. None of us do.
Well, yeah,
but sure. That's a huge life-changing, life-defining thing. Because if I'm going to carry this fucking pregnancy to term, and I would be like, I'm going to have, and I decided to, whatever. I mean, I could go down the rabbit hole of the timeline of what would happen. But man, it'd be different. It'd be different than it is. So anyway, all that said, I'm just talking about my experience, right? So let's talk about these CPCs, these crisis pregnancy centers. These places appear to be clinics. People wear white coats and scrubs and shit. They have ultrasound machines. I filled out the same paperwork that I filled out at the fucking doctor's office. There is no HIPAA at these places. Any information you give them is not protected. Ashley Underwood, the director of Equity Forward, a national reproductive rights group, said this regarding that fact, quote, "So when we are thinking about abortion being criminalized, these sort of entities having this information about patients is a huge concern." End quote. Not only that, they can pass this information to anyone, leaving vulnerable people open to harassment. It is not illegal for them to mislead you either. All of the things they said to me about sterilization shit were only to scare me into not terminating. None of it's fucking accurate or true. They use verbiage like calling the fetus the baby and you as the patient mom. Mindfuckery shit on confused and scared people. If you Google abortion clinics or abortion options, abortion pill, etc., any of that stuff, these places are some of the top results and call themselves things like women's resource centers, crisis pregnancy services, pregnancy aid and information centers. They outnumber legitimate health centers, sometimes 3 and 4 to 1 in a community, in any given community. Furthermore, let's go back to the several states with restrictions. The shit in the episode really fucking happens, okay? Delaying appointments until the legal cutoff, telling people their tests are negative when they're not. Truly unethical shit, by all means necessary to prevent a person from a very important and personal choice. How is any of this legal? Gabe has said on several occasions today. They are not licensed healthcare providers, so there is no code of ethics they have pledged to. There are no instances like the one in the episode that I could find that resulted in legal repercussions. And it goes without saying, they're almost always religiously affiliated.
How does that?
You ask? You ask? Then taxpayer dollars are definitely not being used, right?
Oh my God.
Taxpayer dollars in at least 17 states are used to fund these places. I say at least because I read something else that said 19. Researchers did the math and found that since 1995, together, states have used over $1 billion in taxpayer money to fund these anti-abortion centers. And since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, listen, I'll tell you, and since the overturning of Roe v. Wade, the state funding for these places has increased nearly $500 million. Let me make your whole body set on fire if it hasn't already. In 7 states, millions of dollars are diverted to CPCs from TANF, T-A-N-F, the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, a program to, quote, help families with children experiencing low income achieve economic security and stability. They are taking money from existing children and their families needing resources to survive and giving it to religiously affiliated smokescreen centers to convince people who are in need of free care and information, by the way, to continue with a pregnancy they may have not intended to continue with.
I can't.
Yeah.
You'll never convince me that pro-life people are actually for life.
No. Shit.
It's pro-pregnancy. Because if you were pro-life, you'd be for like free school lunches for kids. You wouldn't be taking money from children that are outside of the womb. You just, no.
This is the only legal action I found being attempted. And I would love to know if your state is doing something or if there was something that I missed, because I searched and kept reading shit. And I'm like, I'm just going to talk about how much I hate this and give everybody the information. So this was the only thing I found. In New Jersey, a state that has legalized abortion, a bill was introduced under the state's Consumer Fraud Act. Basically, if one of these places was found to be using deceptive or misleading advertising, which is their fucking MO, it's what they do. They want you to believe that they are a medical center. The Attorney General's office could get a court order to stop them from advertising or operating. Underwood, in the argument for this bill, said, quote, anti-abortion centers totally rely on deceptive marketing tactics. They prey on people seeking information on abortion and other pregnancy-related health care and deceive people into their doors. Clarity and transparency is super important as we're thinking about havens for abortion access. Blessed be the fruit. The shit is crazy. Fucking vote.
Yeah.
And just be aware. Like, that's all I wanted to do for this chaser, was give information that people may not have. You may not have this information about these places. I don't know if it's like common knowledge now, but I didn't fucking know it. So, but I was lucky to be able to have the opportunity to make the choice, whatever I ended up deciding my choice was going to be. I didn't know what my choice was going to be when I left that place, when I went to Planned Parenthood, when I left Planned Parenthood. I did not know what choice I was going to make. And I mean, believe me, it was all I thought about until I did make a choice. But I needed all the information. I'll openly say I had an abortion because I'm not ashamed of it. I was for a long time. I lied about it at first. There were very few people that knew that I had actually had an abortion until I was like, wait a second, shame. You don't belong here.
Yeah.
So now, hi, we've never met. Person driving in your car going, I thought this show was funny. Anyway, that's it.
All right. Well, next week we have season 7, episode 10, Storm. Apparently, this is a fucking crazy episode. A kid gets hit by a car, but that leads to a child predator that focused on Hurricane Katrina victims. And there's like a ton of stuff going on, I guess. I didn't look into it because I know I don't want my brain to get triggered to remember the episode, but there's supposed to be like a whole fucking bunch of shit.
Woo. Woo. Crazy. That's going to be crazy.
So rate and review us. Email us at svupod@gmail.com. If you want to send us anything, mail stuff to P.O. Box 176, Deforest, Wisconsin, 53532. Our social media everywhere is at svupod. You can get merch at svupod.com and TeePublic. We got shirts, hoodies, frickin' tapestries, phone cases, mugs, all kinds of shit. Facebook group.
Facebook group?
I know.
First Burke?
Mark.
Why don't you come in the first Burke?
We are our Facebook Gershberm. Our Facebook group is SU Pod Elite Squad.
That's some millennial shit. We're like, remember?
We have a Facebook group chat called Walk and Talk. It's really, everybody's fucking awesome on our things. And hashtag Little Bit Loud for indie pods to find them. And if you are an indie pod, hashtag that in your shit so we all can find you. Join our Patreon. It's www.patreon.com/svupod. We have so much shit on there, dudes.
Shit on there.
We have so much number 2s on there, dude. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 1-920-345-7005. Again, 1-920-345-7005. And let us know if you want us to share anything that you send us.
Right.
Okay, well, fuck. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Fart 1, 6-4, fart 2. Back in Lauren's
Into these
room.
matters.
Spooky season. She's like, hey, Judes, can I have a minute? Hold on, I have to make him lunch. It's just a garbage bag with an apple core in it.
A bunch of chicken bones.
Some barf with some sawdust on it. Am I going to have to draw this fucking trash cart guy now?
Just a pile of used tissues.
It's his favorite snacks, like Lunchables. Okay.
I'm like, gross. I wouldn't eat that.
Right. But you're like, barf with Okay, and to our Elite Squad patrons, Marisa M, Elke H, Tricia S, Emily T, Katarina G, Mary D, Joshua H, Lem, Eliza W, Nikki B, Melanie G, Andrew, Miranda B, Lauren T,
Katie A, Kate H, Vanessa, Lax, Shelby K, Kimberly L, Bonita R, Maren, Ursula, Catherine M, Kate P, Jessica S, D, Jana M, Tammi J, Bear, Sam D, Neida M,
Mac Attack, Meg M, Alexis J, Kaitlin S, Christina D, Camille Z, Maggie D, Jessica P, Victoria, Scout G, Melissa M, Desiree R,
Monica K, Katie S, Brenna T, Andrea M, Tash, Andrea H, Aunt Sarah, my Aunt Sarah.
My Aunt Sarah. This way to shut down the cabin for the winter? Oh.
What are you bringing to Thanksgiving? I'm going to bring the beans. You're going to bring the corn pudding? What do you bring? I don't know. Emily D, Katie H.
Burn. Catherine B. Hey, Bird. Hey, Bird. That's all I think of every time. Okay.
I know.
Catherine B. Ariana. Madeline K. Kristen F. Samara B. Amanda P. Mahalia S. Jules K. Julie R. Tracy. Rachel. Kitty Cat. Meow. Ew. Sorry. Carrie M.
Leilani J. Alex A. Amelia T. Samantha S. Ariel E. Becky A. Margaret S. Natalie B. Danielle L. Ellie. Catherine P. And Sleuthy Slothballs 89.
Yeah.
That was my grandma's name.
Oh, that was... Oh, I love those old vintage names.
I know. Fluffy Slothballs.
It's like Elaine.
Alice. Margaret.
Betsy. Fluffy Slothballs. All right. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for everything that you guys do.
It harkens back to a simpler time. Okay. Yeah. Love you guys. Thanks.
Oh, look at little Fluffy Slothballs out there churning butter.